Hey guys, Steeble here. Today we're going to be talking about how to play light tanks effectively. So this wasn't my replay, but I noticed the light tank in my team played his tank very effectively, so I thought I'd start off with this clip. Light tanks are the fastest tanks in the field, so what you want to do is drive as fast as you can, straight at the enemy team. You want to light them, get them on the map for your teammates so they can react accordingly and plan their game out. So here you see just charging straight at him. You want to be very direct. Alright, so he got spotted. He doesn't have sixth sense, but that's alright. Let's kind of do a little bit of bob and weave. Alright, he spotted the target. Good. He's done a job. Spotted two targets. Took a shot. Alright. That's the price to pay. Oh, took another shot. Alright, so he's got one more shot. Now it's time to engage. Charge straight at him. Guns blazing. Get ready to rack up as many points as you can. Your job is done.
Wait a minute, this is all fucked up.
Alright, so I posted that replay not to shame that guy, and you'll notice I removed the HUD when he died so you couldn't see his name, but just give you an example of what I think roughly between a third and a half of light tank drivers think their job is, which is kind of the exact opposite of what their job is. So hopefully this video will give you some tips on becoming a better light tank player. So first off, I want to talk about skills and perks on your light tank crews. Always, you want to start with sixth sense. You don't have a lot of hit points in your light tanks. You get shot, you're in trouble. So you need to know if the enemy can see you. So sixth sense does that. Take it first. Brothers in arms, second. That's typically my first and second perk on every tank, but light tanks especially. Brothers in arms enhances everything about your crew by a small amount. So view range, camo, aim time, you name it. Everything's helped, and then it also enhances your skills and perks that you take after. So like, see, I got camo next. It helps out with that. You can make the argument that camo should be second on a light tank. Camo is extremely important. Either take it second or third. The main strength of a light tank is its camo, and especially camo on the move. So anything you can do to enhance your camo rating, you should be doing that. And then the view skills. Situational awareness, recon. Situational awareness increases your view range by 3%, recon by 2%. So combined you get 5% boost. If you got a 400 meter tank, or 400 meter view range on your tank, that's 20 extra meters. You add in brothers in arms and vents, that's probably about 30 meters. And you know, food can enhance that even more if you run food. So take those, and those 5 are kind of your bread and butter skills for light tank drivers. After that, it's kind of personal preference. But those, in my opinion, should be your first 5, pretty much every light tank. After that, you can see I got smooth driving, which helps your accuracy on the move. Light tanks will be shooting on the move more than other classes, so that helps. And then I took snapshot after that, which helps your aim time when your turret's moving. That's more when you're shooting stationary. And then track mechanic, which if you get tracked as a light tank, you're in deep trouble. So if you can help with track repair time, that's good. And then you can see I'm training off-road driving, which helps with your mobility. And mobility is, you know, a key component of light tank play. So after that, it's kind of personal preference. Equipment, you can see I got the Bad Chat 12T pulled up here, which is the tier 8 autoloader. Autoloaders don't allow for gun rammers, so that's not an option on this tank. But you can see I got vertical stabilizers in the 3rd spot. Any tank that can take a vertical stabilizer, take it. Helps with your aim time. Vents. If you're an autoloader, take vents. You don't have the option for a rammer. If you do have an option for a rammer, like the tier 5, you know, then it's to you, personal preference. And look at the aim time. Do you want a rammer? Do you want vents? And then coated optics. 100% of the time on your light tank, you need coated optics. If you don't have it on there, you're not playing the tank right. One thing I did forget to mention on skills, which is very important, and a lot of people don't understand it because it's not pointed out, in the actual game. You have to go online to figure it out. Is the skill or the perk silent driving does not apply to light tanks. You're wasting a perk slot if you use silent driving. Silent driving enhances your camo on the move. Sounds like a perfect thing for a light tank. But a light tank, you have the same camo rating on the move as you do stationary, so it is wasted. Never, never, never take silent driving as a light tank. And then equipment, back to the equipment. A lot of people will run binoculars and camo nets on their light tanks. The thing about those two pieces of equipment are you have to be stationary for, 5 or 10 seconds for them to even kick in. And again, your strength is you have the same camo on the move as stationary. So you're effectively removing your best piece of your tank by relying on those two pieces of equipment. Now it's kind of counterintuitive because people are thinking, well, light tanks' main job is to spot targets. So binoculars gives you better view range than coated optics. But again, you have to be sitting still. Don't take those. I mean, if you're 100% free to play, I guess put them on there. But, you know, put $5 into the game so you get enough gold to spend 10 gold per, you know, when you upgrade your tanks. You can take off your good pieces of equipment. Alright, so this game I'm just going to talk over and kind of talk about some of the general principles of light tanks. It's a Tier 6 AMX Chaffee. I got a really new crew in this tank right now that I'm training up, so I don't have my view range or camo maximized. It's actually a heavy tank crew, so I don't even have camo on this tank. First thing you'll notice, I'm using the big map, not the compass map. I'm going to link the video that I made on how to read the map in the description of this, so check that out after this one. But light tanks, you gotta play the big map. You gotta know what's going on around you. You gotta be able to see, you know, what your team's doing, where you can help. It's extremely important. If you're using the compass map, you're hurting yourself tremendously, so don't do it. So scout tanks or light tanks, you gotta realize that you're a sport tank. You're there to help your teammates win the game. You're not there to kill 15 guys on the other team. If you do it, put it on YouTube. I'd love to watch it, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. So good players can help your team win games as a light tank driver. Bad players, like you saw in the opening clip of this video, really don't help their team at all. And they actually hurt them because they remove their capability to spot targets. So the strengths and weaknesses of a light tank: you have low hit points, you have poor armor, and you have a bad gun. Those are your weaknesses. But a lot of people play your light tanks like they're just kind of a crappy medium tank. You don't want to play them like that. The strengths of light tanks are you have good camo, and you have the same camo rating on the move as if you're sitting still. That's extremely important and a huge advantage. So you want to, you know, that's your tank's strength. You want to play to that strength. And you typically, especially if you're putting your crews together like I recommended, you should have better view range than pretty much every other tank in the game. So if you're focusing on using your camo and your view range to your advantage and your team's advantage, you should have a good game. Your mantra, the mantra typically would be like Om Bade Madre Om, Om Bade Madre Om, something like that. Your mantra is stay alive. Stay alive. Light tanks get better, they get stronger as the game goes on. Late game, they can carry the game by themselves in certain situations, or they can definitely help your team win. So, like a light tank versus a heavy tank, one-on-one, end of the game. Unless it's like a city map, the light tank should win 95 out of 100 times if they're playing right, maybe 99. So try and stay alive. I mean, you should try and stay alive in every game with every tank, but light tanks, massively important. Now, just to mention on this game, you see I got one light tank supporting my crew on the right side of the map. I'm supporting, you know, the two guys, I think there were 3 to start with on this side. You want to split your light tanks up so you can help your entire team. So often I see 2, 3 light tanks, they go in the same direction, they play right by each other, And they're basically wasting, you know, 1 or 2 tank slots by doing that because they're spotting the same targets, alright? They're splitting the XP with the other tanks, you know. So they're kind of hurting their own score, but you're not helping your team. Like, I have certain spots on the map I like to go to. You do too, you know. But if you're a light tank driver, you got to be a little bit flexible and be able to adapt. So you see this KV-4. I kind of put a couple shots into him, but eventually I'm going to recognize he's an isolated target. I'm going to rush into him, take him out. That's what you want to do. Light tanks. If you find a target that's isolated, you know, you have the speed to get in there, you can circle them and take them off the map, you know. Light tanks shooting heavy tanks in the front, you're not going to do very well. You know, they have better armor, especially frontally. You want to shoot them in the sides, shoot them in the rear. So you're looking to create flanking opportunities for yourself. But here, you know, I'm checking the map. I can tell this guy's by himself, so I'm going to rush in there and take him off the game. And you really have to have a David and Goliath mentality when you're playing a light tank, you know. If you're going up toe-to-toe in a heavy tank, you know, in this situation he's weak, and I can tell he's not looking at me. But, you know, frontally trading shots with a heavy tank, you're going to lose almost every time, unless you're not a very good player. You know, so you're David in a light tank, heavy tank's a Goliath. Play accordingly. And then there's kind of 2 schools of scouting, passive scouting and active scouting. I'll go into them a little bit more in the next game. But passive scouting is more like sitting in a bush and spotting targets, and active scouting is kind of driving around. So, you know, just to touch on this game, you know, 1 target left, I can go in there and take them out. But the next game will be my tier 8 bad chat, and that's what I'll talk over that, and that's a pretty good light tank game, so we'll check that out next. So here you can see I'm in the bad chat, tier 8 light tank on Corellian Assault. We're the assaulting team. First thing you want to do is take a look at the enemy lineup. So they got 1 light tank, tier 9. What you're doing as a light tank driver, you want to see how many they have, and are they faster than you, so you can kind of plan accordingly. So just by how we spawn, you can see our light tanks are split up. Our other one's going on the hill to scout, which isn't really that effective in my opinion, but whatever. So I'm kind of supporting the southern team, obviously. So what I'm doing first, drive ahead. You know, I do want to spot targets, but I'm not yellowing. I'm just getting in a position where by using the map I can tell where they're likely to be. So I'm going to park up here in the bush. We'll start off kind of passively scouting here, so you can tell my view range is better in these heavy tanks. I'm keeping them at the edge of that circle right there. That's they're a light tank in this case. That's the view range that light tank can detect me at. The heavy tanks can't detect me at that range, so if I keep them there, they're not going to be able to see me. Now you'll see, as I'm lighting these targets for my team, the spotting damage is going to start pouring in. But the tanks behind me can't see them unless I'm lighting those tanks up. So by keeping them lit, you see, you got to pay attention to your map. I'm keeping them at a distance where they're unlikely to see me, but I can see them. And, you know, I got 1,000 damage and, you know, just sitting there for 30 seconds or whatever it was. It's going to be 2,000 here in a second. Easy. I'm helping my team to win the game, and I'm racking up points, you know, so win-win for everyone involved. I haven't shot yet. You know, the urge that I have to fight, and most light tank drivers do, is try not to shoot. Okay, I'm getting a little crazy here because I see him, and I end up paying for it. You know, I had to burn a repair kit there. He tracked me, didn't damage me. That one bounced, I guess. But I probably should have just kept my gun silent there. You know, early on, you're going to get more damage by spotting for your team than you are by shooting. See, I only got 300 damage there by shooting 3 shots. And, you know, my team is putting damage. And I got to back off to drop the spot. You see, 6 cents is lit. So I'm back off, wait till that goes away. Now I'm not spotted. Now I can get back in position. So now I'm keeping an eye on the map. That heavy tank's he'll be able to spot me now. But I'm going up there to kind of support my teammates. I'm kind of waiting for there's a tier 9, I forget what tank it is. There's a heavy tank here that I'm got my eye on, taking him out. He takes out one of my tanks. This is probably a bad plan in retrospect, but just because that guy to my right can see me and shoot me. But I do want to take this guy out before he, you know, kills 2-3 guys on my team. So rush him there, and then I'm trying to get out of there. You know, end up fucking up my engine, which, you know, I burned my repair kit already, so it's a problem. I can't repair that engine. I'm going to be slower. Light tanks, you got to rely on your speed a lot, so that's actually kind of a detriment. So you can go either way. Was that a good play? Was that not a good play? We got that tank out of there before it did too much damage to my team. I'd say I'd probably make that play again, but you could definitely make the argument I should have come up maybe like a further away flanking shot or something. But now you can see we've won this side, and that was largely, you know, I'm not taking credit because my teammates are playing well too, but because I was spotting those targets, my team was shooting them, you know, we cleared out this side pretty well. Now my team on the right, they're doing all right. They got them tied down. We can clear out these RDs right here, and then we're going to have control of the 2/3 of the map, the western half, the center, and we should be able to cap out by the time they're done fiddling around with the team on the right, or potentially just wipe them all off, depending on how they do. But this game at this point is effectively won, and I did my role properly. You know, this Tiger P, again, notice where he is on the map. He's right at the edge. And you can see when I shoot how it pulses out that circle. That's to reflect the camo dropping. But here I'm just trying to either track him or damage him if I can, because he's unlikely to spot me at that range. So I feel comfortable doing that. He's really the only tank that could challenge this capping. Part of the reason I capped was because my engine is shot and I couldn't really go over there to support the other team, or the other part of my team. But this Tiger P still sitting here. He's playing it well. He knows I'm here. He can't see me. I'm not spotted, but he's looking for my tracers, and I knew he was going to try and do that. He did blind fire me there, so that was a good job on his part. But I wasn't visible on his screen. I wasn't on his map. He couldn't see me. He was just shooting at where the tracer was emanating from. So it's only 8-5, and this guy snuck in here. I didn't really realize that. Luckily my medium tank's tying him up. I'm trying to track him here or kill him, either way, but he ends up getting killed by the Senshi, I think it was. And now I'm capping. My team is screening for me, which means they're kind of defending the cap. They're not sitting in the cap with me, allowing the other team to come after me, or come after all of us in that case, but they're out a little bit to slow them down. Now they're down to 3 tanks, so we'll probably end up just killing them. But, you know, if it was more tightly contested, trying to cap might be the way we won. And you can see there, again, he did blind fire me again, because I was not lit, wasn't on his map, he couldn't see me on the screen, he was shooting where the tracer comes. So that Tiger P was actually countering me fairly well there, and he should have killed me. I don't know if he bounced or if it just hit the track or what, but, you know, the game's over. I can't get over there to put a shot or two into that guy because of my engine. But I thought that was a pretty good example of how to play your light tanks. It was mainly passively scouting at the beginning, and then there wasn't as much active scouting. Maybe I'll do another video of that in the future. But if you like the video, please hit the thumbs up button, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.